This is going to be a pretty exciting couple of days, I think. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Rick O'Connor. I'm the Executive Director of the RISC-V Foundation. And if you're new to the community, we've had quite a year. I just want to talk for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to introduce Dom, and we'll get started. But before we get going, a big thank you to our friends here at Google for hosting us for these couple of days. We have lots of cool things planned. A neat reception tonight at the History Museum, the Computer History Museum. That'll be a lot of fun. But we're very appreciative of Google for hosting this event for us. First and foremost, though, this is a community-based networking workshop, right? Make sure you hang around with the people that you don't know. I say this at each one. It's really easy. It's great to meet up with your buddies that you haven't seen for a while, and you should do that, say hello and so on, but get past that in a hurry and seek out the people that you don't know. I'll go through some numbers here in a bit in terms of how quickly the community has grown, and it's really quite impressive. So whatever you think you know about what's going on at RISC-V around the world, you're probably missing something. So spend a couple of days reaching out to folks that you don't know. We'll have ample times during breaks and lunch and then reception this evening to do that, so make sure you do that. Follow us on Twitter if you're not already, and we have a LinkedIn page, and obviously any suggestions or recommendations along the way, we're all ears. A few stats. So this is our 5th workshop. We had room for 350. We have 354 people registered. There's 107 companies represented across that attendee list, and 29 universities. So that 350 is up over 100 what we did in July. And in the shower this morning, as I was getting ready to get over here, I'm going like, man, I feel like I just did this. This is the 3rd workshop we've had this calendar year, as it turns out, right? Because we had the 3rd one in January. So it's been a pretty busy period. And if you just look at the numbers, 33 companies, 30 companies, 42 companies, 63 companies, 107 companies. And 100 and some odd, and then 150, 250, 350. The past 12 months have been pretty significant. And as I typically do at each one, save the date for next May. We're going to be in Shanghai, hosted by our good friends at NVIDIA and the Shanghai Jiao Tong University. So this will be a lot of fun on the 9th and 10th of May. So mark those dates in your calendar, because that's when we'll be up next. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dom to say a few words on behalf of Google before we get started with Mike's presentation. So welcome, everyone.
All right. Can everyone hear me in the back? Yeah? All right. Thanks so much, Rick. So I just want to take a quick moment before we get started to thank one person in particular for all our help in organizing this, and that's Bobby No. Without Bobby, this would not have come together. And please, actually, yes, round of applause for Bobby. So if you have any questions during the workshop, you can't find the restrooms, which, by the way, are over there, please find myself or find Bobby or one of the friendly blue-shirted Google security officers. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Dom Rizzo. I work at Google, and I'm really happy to welcome you all to this 5th RISC-V workshop. So just as a historical note, I've been coming to these since the very first one in Monterey, and I'm just so happy that Google could sponsor this workshop. I really feel like RISC-V is well on its way to becoming the de facto ISA for new designs. Modulo a few small companies, but let's not worry about that. So my personal interest in RISC-V is in developing sort of open source security hardware that really protects and respects user security. And I don't feel like we can really do that without breaking through this kind of, getting out of this proprietary design space. So our esteemed keynote speaker, Eric Gross, is going to have a bit more to say on the relationship between security and open source, and I hope everyone will stay awake for his talk. He's a fantastic speaker. Just to get into the logistics a little bit, so the conference is going to go for 2 days, and it's roughly organized in the topic tracks. Some of the next real exciting milestones for RISC-V are going to be real silicon, real chips. So we've tried to really highlight those in this particular workshop. Obviously, the scope of the work is much wider than that. So, we've got everything from EDA to languages to system software down all the way to the metal. So today's talks are going to be followed by a social event and poster session at the Computer History Museum. It's going to run for 3 hours, and I hope everyone can join us for that. We've also arranged for the museum to be open while we're there, so please explore the exhibits, have those informal conversations that Rick and I are going to both emphasize. We'll be providing food and drink, so you don't have to worry about dinner. The other thing, it's a bit of a trek. It's actually a couple miles that way, so we're going to be running buses. They'll gather out in the parking lot over there, and they'll just be running in a continuous loop all evening. So again, if you're confused about where to go or where the buses are or anything, find myself, find Bobby, find a blue shirt. So finally, I see a lot of representatives here from open source, academic, and the commercial communities. And I just really want to take a second and encourage everyone, whichever one of those groups you most identify with, to take this as an opportunity to really reach out and build connections and contacts across those groups. I really feel like RISC-V is only going to reach its full potential in the long run based on the strengths of those interrelationships. So with that said, I'd again like to welcome everyone to Google, welcome everyone to the 5th RISC-V workshop.